Sunday, November 10th, and I don't know if we're going to have much of a video today because it's just going to be all of the same stuff we were doing yesterday. So I don't know how much of this I'm really going to get, but maybe I'll throw a few updates as we progress here. Okay, not going to bore you with the on again, off again of the cowlings while we're working through this here, but one thing I did do just now is we did measure on the lower cowling. We did a measure down from where the joggle is, and I made a gauge tool for that. And then we put this cowling back on the top, and this is upside down, but we put the cowling on the top, and then I used that tool to measure up to identify, show me where approximately where the joggle is in the lower cowl. So we've got this line marked here, just did one there, did the same on the other side. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim this back a little more. We're still fighting with this thing, fitting right, and we're getting closer. We've got the depth just about right on here. We've still got a little bit of a gap left on this between the top and the bottom, but when you put the top on, it's pulling the bottom cowl, the corresponding piece on the bottom cowl, it's pulling that in, but this isn't what's pulling it in. We're trying to figure out what's going on, and I think it is this right here that's really thick on these two corners. These front corners here are really thick with resin and gel coat and whatnot, but on the inside it's pulling the whole bottom cowl on both sides. It's pulling it in this way because this doesn't fit over the front of it. So we've taken some off of the bottom cowl where that fits in there. We've taken some of that off, and I don't know if you're supposed to take any of this material off or not. Because I mean that's the fiber that's under there, that's on this side of it. So we just might take a little bit more of that resin off the front corners of the bottom cowl and see if that works a little bit. But first we're going to trim this back a little bit more. We're just slowly working this back, making sure to not go above this line here. So I think we'll take this line. When I had cut this previously with a Dremel, you can see where I had overrun with the bit or the cutting wheel a little bit, and that's how close that is to that. This is where the joggle is, but very close on that. So we're gonna roll that back a little bit more, see if that helps the fit, and keep going. All right, we're getting close. We've got it down to where we've got these pretty much even across, but the whole thing is still a little bit high. This whole top piece is a little bit high, so we're going to go 1/8 inch down. We're going to take off. So we've got this. I did a 1/8 inch gauge on here, did a mark on it, and yeah, so we're going to got this all marked out. I'm going to trim that off and see what we get. We're getting closer. Our clearances are getting tighter. Things are fitting up a little bit better, and I just talked about how we're going to trim 1/8 inch off of that top cowl on the front. And one thing I saw Derek do that I like is took a piece of fuel hose, actually two pieces, split them and put them over the top of this starter ring flywheel on the engine, and then we put the cowl back on. We haven't cut it yet. We put the cowl back on and actually pushed it down over the joggle so that it would hang down a little bit to where I've got those cut lines marked on that cowl, and then checked up inside of here to make sure that there was clearance. There actually isn't, but If we take 1/8 off of that top cowl, and when we have it fit up, it's just barely, it's just touching, just brushing the top of this fuel hose. And I was able to look up from this side inlet up through here, and then I stuck a mirror up there. Also used the borescope. We put the borescope up there and checked that as well and kind of verified that. But yeah, a couple pieces of fuel hose on here. Just took and split it down the middle, and that gives us about what, 1/4 inch? Yeah, about 1/4 inch or so. So that's looking like that's about what the clearance is going to be, and there's 1/4 inch on that. Also couldn't remember if I talked about this. I think I did, but I just wanted to show how we've taken this. We've had to sand this down. These front corners, actually, that one, especially this one. This one was really thick on here. We took a bunch of that, not a bunch, but took a pretty good chunk of that off of there, as well as this corner. Same thing here. And same thing here. So we've sanded those back a bit on that cowl, and that's helping that top cowl fit on there a little bit better. Well, here's your weather check. This is all you get. Taxiway Hotel. Yep. It's getting dark out. Okay, calling it a night tonight, and feeling much better about this cowl, how it's starting to come together. Again, it just takes a really long time, just so much fitting and just very, very minimal trimming. But once it starts to get close, things start fitting up. Not without some modification though. I just talked about how we've had to sand off some of that underlying the gel coat and the resin that's in there, but fitting up a lot better now. I think we've kind of got our final cut here on the front and around to here. Not here so much. There's still a little bit long on this side, but and the other side, but we'll get that trimmed up. But yes, this is much better after a long day today of getting this done. How long?
5 hours.
5 hours?
Well, we got here about 12.
That's true. We didn't get a 5.5 hours on this section today, on this bit right here and right here. Next up is, oh, and don't worry about this. We're letting this lay here. We don't have this on, but when we fit this up, the spacing is good on this backing spinner back plate. So yeah, don't freak out about that. But everything is good there. Next up is we will tape this all together. We'll kind of get it in its final position there, and then we mark and trim this back section here. And I think once we get this trimmed and into the sitting on top of the cowl strap underneath there and drop down in, and even with the boot cowl, I think that front is gonna really come together at that point. So yeah, happy with how this is coming out. Yesterday was pretty frustrating, just slow day, didn't seem like there was a lot of progress, but today it really, things started to click and we got it put together here. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching the videos. Hope everyone has a good evening, and that's it for now.